Good evening, everyone. It's 5:30, so I'm going to call the Otomo City Council meeting to order. And the first item will be to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Chris will go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Councilmember Hull.
Here.
Councilmember Pope.
Here.
Councilmember Rowe. Councilmember Galloway.
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here. The next item is our consent agenda. Do we have a recommendation to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda with removal of item B3.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think it was Sandra. Okay, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Councilmember Pope.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
The next item is to approve our agenda for tonight's council meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Councilmember Hull.
Yes.
Councilmember Pope.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Next item is the city administrator's report. So I'm going to turn it over to Phil Rath, our city administrator.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I have one thing that's it's not on the agenda, but it's just a presentation, and I'm going to ask Fred Zeisiger from Main Street Ottumwa to come forward. And he had wanted to give a little update on Schmid and what that is. And we have an item later on the agenda where this will kind of play into that. So for the council, turn it over to Fred.
Thank you, Phil and council, for having me tonight. Larry called me last week and said that he had this item on the agenda, and I thought, you know what, I better come up and give a little presentation on what SMID is. So SMID is a self-supporting municipal improvement district. So it's a self-imposed tax, basically, that's voted on by the district itself. It was established in 2019. And to approve that, it had to be voted upon and approved by at least 25% of all the owners in the district and 25% of the assessed value of the district properties. So we gathered petitions and got signatures, and it was approved by 37% of the owners and 62% of the assessed valuation of those properties. Since then, we have created a 10-person board, which is comprised of 8 property owners from the SMID district. We have 1 at-large member, and then we have had 1 city representative. Right now, where that person resigned, it was Tina. So hopefully, when we get the new finance person in, we can have the finance person join back up. Kind of this SMID strategic priorities follow very similarly with the Main Street priorities. Support downtown businesses. We want to create a vibrant and active downtown through maintenance and beautification, and then Main Street Ottumwa organization support system as well. The district follows it is basically the same district as the Main Street district. One difference is that it is divided by 3 zones. So zone 1 pays $1 per thousand in assessed value. Zone 2 pays $2 per thousand in assessed value, and Zone 3 pays $3. And you can kind of see the breakdown of how that is. And so that Zone 3 pays $3, but it's right along the Main Street district there. There's been a lot of improvements there, and it just happened to work out that each zone pretty much collects about the same amount of money. That wasn't planned, but that's how it worked out. So it was a year ago or 2 years ago, we came and kind of that board decided on how they wanted that money to be spent. So 20% of that budget was going to go towards administration. 30% was for beautification projects. 20% was economic vitality projects, kind of business projects downtown. 25% towards maintenance, and then we had a reserve of 5% to set aside if we needed to switch things around a little bit. And that is just kind of a rough estimate. That was the first estimate, or the first year's, what the dollar amount was, which equaled about $26,000 that first year. That will increase as properties go up or down. But some of the things that we've done, obviously, one of the first big things we did give $3,000 to, they gave $3,000 to help purchase the little new gym vehicle that we have. It's the electric vehicle that we bought from RJ Performance. We did pair that with a $15,000 Bright Ideas grant, and then RJ Performance actually purchased and installed the rear hitch so we could hook up a watering tank. We've also just recently purchased 11 pet waste stations. They're not all up yet. We have one up. These are on our new light poles downtown, which are really pretty neat light poles because you can attach things to them without actually having to strap them. But the piece that you do that with is not readily available. So we've ordered some new parts for that are going to be here in 8 to 10 weeks. So hopefully as soon as those get in, we can get those put up. But we have noticed that that's a new addition to downtown. That's something that the SMID committee has addressed. We've seen a lot more people walking downtown, which is a great thing. We also have a lot more upper story housing. Some of those housing units have pets. So people are out walking their pets, which is awesome to see. But there's a byproduct there that needs to be taken care of too. So it's nice to have this, and we are placing those next to the trash can, so there should be no reason that is an issue. We also have, early on we bought 8 ashtrays because we saw a lot of cigarette butts going down into some of the planters, and actually had one small little fire that we had to put out. So we did buy some ashtrays too that we manage and make sure that we get those emptied, but those are all up. The other thing that they wanted to do was kind of follow what's been going on with the dumpster enclosures behind in the Jefferson Street parking lot and the Canteen Alley, where they have kind of these dumpster enclosures that have multiple dumpsters in them that the properties can use, and it just kind of cleans it up a little bit and makes it look a little bit better. We'd like to do those in some of the city parking lots behind in the Commercial Street lot. There are several dumpsters there kind of on the alley, Commercial Street itself, that aren't very attractive, and we'd like to create a dumpster enclosure there. We'd like to create one in the Green Street parking lot behind the career campus someplace to kind of clean up those dumpsters that are in the alley. And then in the 3rd Street lot as well was the 3rd location. And then kind of deciding on which one of those locations to move forward with, we thought that the 3rd Street lot, or they thought the 3rd Street lot was probably the best location. There's a privately owned alley there that has some dumpsters and grease dumpsters that the property owner would like to get out of that alley. And then there are some other properties along Market Street that don't actually have a location for a dumpster. So we thought this would be a great place to have a dumpster enclosure so we can get those all put in one place and make them a little cleaner, and then maybe have some future development in that privately owned alley as well. And Larry's going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I will be back in October. September is our planning time where the Main Street committees will present to the SMID board. We're going to be coming up with a new budget, or a tighter budget than what we've had in the past. And I'll be back in October to tell you how that goes and what projects we'll be doing for the next year. I also haven't been here to talk about what Main Street's been doing, so I'll do that at the same time in October. But I did want to point out real quick that it's kind of exciting. If you haven't noticed, the 2 facades, actually there's 4 facades on Market Street. They started construction on those on Monday. So for you and the public, make sure that you're driving along Market Street and checking out that progress. So, and then we have another grant, 2 grants that are going to be happening hopefully soon with apartments, upper story apartments. So lots going on again, and it's exciting time to be downtown. Thank you.
Does council have any questions for Fred? You're doing great work.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't really have anything else on the agenda, but one thing I just wanted to quickly note is under the consent agenda, the council had approved the members that were making up the Human Rights Commission. So we have a few people that are on either a 1 year, a 2 year, or 3 year term, and that will cycle through, and then eventually everyone will be on 3 year terms. And we'll be working with the state to set up a meeting and date and time to conduct some training and get the commission off to hopefully a great start. So
Some of them are here tonight. Would you like to recognize them?
I'd say, yeah. So if anyone that is from the commission here tonight wants to maybe take stand quick and just be recognized. All right.
We're very happy that you agreed to serve on the Human Rights Commission. And we had 15 people apply, and we really feel like we've got a very good gender balanced commission that's got some really wonderful work experience and different perspectives to bring to the Human Rights Commission. So I personally would just like to thank all of you for being willing to accept serving on Ottumwa's Human Rights Commission. And there will be an initial planning meeting scheduled here in the near future and get started. So thank you very much for serving your community.
Thank you. Okay, that is all I had tonight.
Okay, thank you, Phil. The next thing would be for me to ask if there's anybody in the audience that wants to speak on any of the agenda items on tonight's agenda. We do have one individual that would like to speak. Would you like to do that now? Okay, come to the front and give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Corwin Williams. I live at 101 South Market Street here in downtown Ottumwa. I'm speaking on the approval of the Human Rights Commission. First off, I do want to say I don't have any issues and I do not have any opposition to who you've appointed. What I do have an opposition to is you said 15 people applied?
15 people applied.
But a quarter of our population is not accounted for on the Human Rights Commission. And that would be young adults 18 to 40, of which Ottumwa's average age is 38.1 years of age, and the commission is 57.4 years old.
Our ages of the people that got selected were 33 years of age up to 73 years of age.
That's not what I recall from looking at tonight's agenda online, seeing a range from 42 to 73.
That's the information that was on their applications.
So is what was presented to the city council for tonight's agenda incorrect?
I don't believe so.
No, I mean, the youngest person that's on there is like 33 years old, and she went to school with my daughter, so I do know.
And that's very fair. But even then, that brings down the average to give or take 52 years old. So out of the 15 applicants and of the 6,791 people in Ottumwa that are between the ages of 18 and 40, you can only find one person that had enough work experience, qualification, and any kind of knowledge to serve on the commission. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is it's not an adequate representation at all.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree, but we had to go with what we had to work with, and we had 15 applications, and we did multiple advertising opportunities encouraging people to apply for the Human Rights Commission. So we didn't want to keep delaying it any longer, so we felt like we need to get started. But in the future, I hope there will be more younger people and other ethnic groups and racial groups apply, because the vast majority of the people that applied were Caucasian.
Mhm.
But, you know, we tried very hard to get a diverse group of people to represent the Human Rights Commission. And so we decided we didn't want to keep delaying it any longer. So we did make the best decisions we could make given the 15 applicants we had, and they were all good applicants. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. I hope we do get some younger people and
Who's
some
your
other
youngest
ethnic
applicant?
groups in the future.
Do you recall who your youngest applicant was?
14?
14 years
There was
old.
a high school and,
For the junior,
what?
for the junior commission, correct? Because there was a spot on the application for junior commission as well as the current
Well, there's a
commission.
spot on the application for juniors on every commission. I've talked to Phil today and we are checking into what that looks like, if it's a voting member or a non-voting member. But I will say that this commission, the people that are on it, and I understand what you're saying about age too, but we have some very great and phenomenal people on that commission that, and if you look at this commission too, I know you're talking about age and I understand that, but look at the community around us too, that our community are made up of so many different populations, cultures, ethnicities too.
Mhm.
And I think from the information and the applications that we got, I think that we were able to represent the community with the applications that we got.
I'm very well aware. I looked through everyone's applications when I was preparing for this. I actually worked with Nurse Pope at Otomo Job Corps as well as Galen Davis, which were both appointed. Very happy for them. I really am. But to see an age disparity on the commission, that's an issue. Because it's not those that are going to continue to be here. People my age, I'm 25.
You didn't
Neither.
apply?
I'm sorry?
Did you apply?
He did.
I did.
He did.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But you have to understand and see from our point of view as well. We cannot go out here and bully anybody to be on this commission.
And that's fair.
Yes.
And it's up to the citizens as well to come out and be
Yes,
observant
and
in these
represent.
communities and represent. But to see a lacking disparity in the age is a concern. And it's a valid concern. Because people my age, we're either going to continue to live here, build our community, or we're going to leave. And a vast majority of the people that I went to school with are gone. They went to Des Moines. They went to Cedar Rapids. They went out of state because this community wasn't hearing them.
Well,
That's
we-
my issue. If we're the future of the community, why are we not listening to the future of the community?
So we do have a number of opportunities that the council and staff offer to have voices. The planning commission, the park study, public hearings, all of those opportunities. And we do encourage people to come and speak to at those things, submit comments in writing if they're not able to attend, because they're not always at convenient times. Worked with the mayor to look through. Age was one of the things that we did look at, but it was not the only thing that was looked at as far as trying to come up with a diverse commission. I think the criteria was listed in the adopting language there.
Yes.
It was age, religion, sex, gender, sexual orientation, a number of things were all looked at in criteria and trying to come up with a diverse group of individuals. So I'm not wanting to debate the merits of that. I understand what you're saying, and we do
Yeah.
offer and encourage people to want to. And this wasn't the only committee or commission that we have vacancies on. There are some others that we would encourage anyone to apply for.
I'm very well aware of that as well. I've applied for zoning and commission and was also disregarded. And this time without a nice little letter that says no thanks. So you said also religion, but a vast majority of the members of the commission are of a Christian religion.
So I actually
So-
will be the representative on that, and I am not of a Christian religion, so.
But are you on the commission as a member of the citizenry that is
Well, I'm
not a
just
council
saying, in
member?
general, I have sat on commissions, and so, but
I'm
on
well
this,
aware.
so.
I have worked with some of you and have talked with many of you on issues within the city. This is just one issue that struck just a little bit more of a nerve with me than others. Because if we're the future, why are we not looking for additional people in this age range to help our city grow and prosper? If we don't, our city will die. A horrible, agonizing, slow, painful death. That's the reality of it.
But it's also good to have members on this commission with wisdom that have lived life a little bit longer than you. But I think we just have a great group right now on this board. But like we said, it's not that we're saying that this was perfect,
Oh, no.
purposely
And
done
my
this
issue
way.
is not with who you've chosen. It's just the lack
Okay,
of a
understood.
particular group of people that was not represented. And I'm sure Chief Farrington over here could even attest on the police department side, our younger officers are not staying in Otomo, are they? But in general, when you spend money and they tend to go to Des Moines, Iowa City, other larger departments.
So I will say that we did try to take all of those things into account. It sounds like we're not going to agree on the merits of that. There are 3 positions that will be up in a year, and we'll be accepting applications again at that time. So there may be an opportunity to look at the age a little more. And as the committee goes, that may be something that we feel is lacking, as you're stating, and an opportunity to look at that again.
And that's perfectly reasonable. And again, it is not about who has been appointed. I agree with all of them. It's just we're lacking that little bit.
And I guess I would challenge you and other people your age too to get out and apply for commissions. Continue to apply, but get, this community to apply also. And there's other ways to get involved too. But I would again challenge you and others to, and our youth in this town to apply, to continue to become involved in the community too, because it's not just on us all.
Absolutely.
So.
And that is on us as a community. And then I want nothing more than what's best for the community.
The other quick thing before we move on is this commission will be like any other commission meeting. They're open to the public. They're open meetings. So anybody in the community can come and have input and say what they want to say. So there is still opportunities for younger people to come and voice their issues, concerns, or recommendations around the whole area of human rights. So there is still going to be plenty of opportunity for anyone, regardless of their age, to come and attend a Human Rights Commission meeting if they so choose.
Absolutely. And I for one, am looking forward to that opportunity when they become available. All of you have a fantastic evening. Thank you for allowing me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on any of the items on tonight's agenda before we move on? Okay, if not, yes, sir. Do you want to come to the microphone and give your name and address and the item that you'd like to discuss?
I'm John Fenner, 407 Elmdale, Ottumwa, Iowa. I would just like to say, this is a new commission. Let's give us a chance. Let's see what we do,
Thank you. Okay.
Approving the written quote for the fabrication of a dumpster enclosure from Schaus Voorhees Manufacturing Incorporated. Recommendation: approve the written quote for fabrication of a dumpster enclosure from Schaus Voorhees Manufacturing Incorporated in the amount of $13,150 for the Schmid project.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Larry, I believe you're going to cover this.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. On July 6th of 2021, the City Council adopted an Ordinance 3184 outlining the process for permitting privately owned dumpsters on public property. Working with Main Street and local business owners, staff developed shop drawings for creating a standard dumpster enclosure. The River Hills parking lot enclosure was used as a model and is part of the overall goal of improving the appearance and parking lot and alleys of the downtown districts. You want to turn that on? After reviewing the public parking lots with the SMID committee, and recommendation for the first of a series of enclosures will be installed in the 3rd Street parking lot. The SMID committee has been communicating and coordinating with adjacent business owners for use. Installation is being evaluated and will be determined by contractor availability after completion of the construction. We'll turn to the video a little bit. Got a few still shots. This is the one we ended up modeling back in 21 when we looked at it. I think we had 6 or 7 different samples from around town, different businesses, publicly owned and private. This is the area that's proposed. We'll have to tweak that a little bit just because of grade of the parking lot. We'll have to figure out where it'll best fit to allow dumpsters to be able to be rolled in and out without causing undue work on the part of the collectors. So anyway, that's a real good aerial view and kind of gives you, it's centralized. It'll allow some of the dumpster that are currently in the alley travel way to be moved in. And again, this committee's been real good at working with the business owners. They have an idea of who's going to actually utilize it. The attached quote is for fabrication and powder coating of the panels, posts, and doors, and including necessary fabricated hardware. The quoted price was reviewed by the SMID Design Committee and recommended for council approval. We confirmed with the supplier that this quote price is still valid even with the increase in material cost. We received 2 quotes with only 1 complete responsive bid. The project will be funded from the downtown Ottumwa Self-Supported Municipal Improvement District as outlined by Fred. And again, the source of the funding is SMID. It is for an amount of $13,150.
Does council have any questions for Larry?
Will this dumpster be separated to like recycling versus trash or?
We're going to build it just like the River Hills one, and then how it's utilized internally will be kind of up to the business. Right now is planned for a possibility of 6 separate smaller dumpsters. Depends the final agreement between all the business owners, how they utilize that space.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Air conditioner replacement at the Water Pollution Control Facility. Recommendation: approve the replacement of a 5-ton condenser and coil on the air conditioning unit at the Water Pollution Control Facility in the amount of $5,200.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Larry, I believe you're going to take this as well.
Thank you. Approve the replacement of a 5-ton condenser and coil, which includes the condenser pad, filter dryers, a line set flush, the PVC drain material, high and low voltage with the 10-year parts on compressor warranty. The unit is for the lab receiving area, hallway, and 1 office. This is to replace a worn out existing 5-ton unit that has failed. It will come out of the water pollution control budgeted amount. The code and everything is listed on the staff summary.
Council have any questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing to accept written or oral comments from the public on the spending plans for the 2022 Justice Assistance Grant Program funds to be obtained from the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe Chief Farrington, you're going to cover this.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is through the Bureau of Justice. It's a grant that we seek every year. It's based off of our uniform crime reporting, based off the violent crimes. The grant is awarded to the Otomo Police Department in this amount. If I can get to my page here. The portion of the grant will towards the police department will be about $20,383. It's utilized to not supplant any personnel or services, but it allows us to buy tools, equipment, other entities or items that we need to improve the ability to perform law enforcement functions in the community.
And I believe this is the third year the city's been awarded this grant. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
It's a
then,
grant we put in for every year.
and 15% of this will also go to the county as well, correct?
Yes, because, the sheriff's department, they're in control of incarceration of any arrestees that we have here in the municipality. So a portion of that goes to them as a disparate entity or a disparate agency. But the Otomo Police Department is the one who seeks the grant and administers the grant.
Does council have any questions for Chief Farrington? Anyone in the audience have any questions for Police Chief Farrington, since this is a public hearing? If not, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Consider accepting the 2022 JAG grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance in the amount of $23,980. Recommendation: approve submission of the grant over the internet and authorize the mayor to sign any related documents as may be required.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Water Pollution Control Facility Operations Re-roofing Project.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe Larry is going to handle this one.
This project involves the removing of the existing roof membrane system and designated mechanical equipment. New recovery board will be installed over the existing insulation by mechanically fastening and installing the 2-ply fire-resistant SBS modified bitumen roof system with the granular surfaced cap sheet. It's approximately 4,000 square feet. The roofing system will be eligible for a 20-year no-dollar limit warranty for water tightness. The existing roof was installed in 2005. Bids will be received and opened by the city of Ottumwa on August 24th, 2022. A bid report and bid award recommendation will be presented at the city council meeting on September 6th. Construction on this project is expected to commence on or about October 15th of 2022 and shall be substantially completed before November 15th. One of the things that these roof systems, it's kind of expensive because we're right by our digesters, so it has to be installed without open flame.
Does council have any questions for Larry? Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments for Mr. Seals? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 204, 2022, approving the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Water Pollution Control Facility Operations Re-roofing Project. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 204, 2022.
Is there a recommendation to approve is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposed ordinance amending the City of Ottumwa's Fire Protection and Prevention Code by amending Chapter 14 of the City of Otomo Municipal Code to adopt the 2021 edition of the International Fire Code.
I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe Fire Chief Miller is going to address this issue.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. We are here to talk about the International Fire Code. In my position as fire chief in the last 13 years, we updated it twice. This will be the third time if it passes. There's a couple minor changes that we'd like to discuss with council members. But the rest of that, here's what the International Fire Code looks like. So if council members want to stop by, call me and say, hey, I want to come discuss it, I'll be more than happy to set a few hours behind to maybe 3 or 4 hours. But you're
just
always
drop it off
welcome
in
to
my
come take a
email.
look at that.
Put it in my email.
I give all the council members, the mayor and city administrator, this is here. When I come to present this tonight, I want to have the very latest information I could have. So I got the last person, one of the fire chiefs called me at 2 o'clock this afternoon to let me know this is what we do on some of the burning stuff. And I just wanted basically the yard waste. I wanted all the council members to know what we do, what the other departments around the state do for yard waste and allowed to burn stuff. Right now in Ottumwa, the only thing you can legally burn is yard waste, and that's it. We've had situations, obviously, where we've heard anything you can imagine burnt, tires, wire, whatever, we've had it burnt. So when they started doing this, we was writing citations. If you burn anything besides yard waste, you get a citation for $355. That went away after about a year, so people got accustomed that we're going to write a citation if needed. So that's one of the things. There's about 5 or 6 things I want to talk about, and then whatever questions council members have, I'll see what I can do to ask them. Fire code. Basically on 307.3, basically that's just adding that the police department and health department can write citations if needed other than the fire department. 307.4.2, that's changing what kind of wood you can burn and the hours you can burn. Because right now we literally have been going out in the middle of the night occasionally. People burn whatever they want, whenever they want. So we're trying to kind of maybe slow that down a little bit, putting the hours from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on burning. That's section 307.4.2. 307.4.4. That is this might have some discussion. The paper I gave all you, that shows what they're doing around the state. What Corey Benjamin, fire marshal, he wrote all this stuff up. Corey's reasoning behind this is allow it 1 month in the spring, 1 month in the fall to allow people to burn during that time. That would alleviate a lot of the problems of people burning all the time. Occasionally we get into a situation where we have a neighbor call, that guy's burning, and then we'll get a call, well, now that person's burning. We're trying to alleviate all that stuff. So that is the one that's maybe have a bigger discussion. April 1st through April 30th, November 1st through November 30th. That's just tentative dates that can always be moved around if needed. Section 307.4.5, basically this is this is when people use stuff on boilers and they put wood that's not good. It causes a lot of smoke issues. And if it's not properly installed, that wood just hangs there, the smell of the smoke, and that's nasty. And we've had a lot of issues with that. So we'd like to do away with that also. Another thing is fire lanes. Right now we have a situation where there's nothing we can do. If we have a private business that has fire lanes and we have people parking in the fire lanes, we want to change that. So if we have people parking in fire lanes where we can go write a citation or have their car towed because there's a reason we have fire lanes. Corey's done a really good job explaining exactly what he would like done on this and what the changes that would be made. I agree this is something we need to take a serious look at, because if you have a fire in one of these businesses and you got a lot of cars in front, that's going to create some serious problems. He's very specific on what the changes that would be made. And that paper, I know you guys have all got this same paper, so that'll tell you pretty much exactly what the changes we would like to make. Section 503.3.1, that is basically the owner or manager will take care of the maintenance on that property. Section 503.4.1, that's a new section. And that would give the city the right, that would give a Otomo code to allow us to write a citation for that person if they was parking in the fire lane. That's the ones that we have we're looking at maybe be an issue. The rest of that stuff is pretty much the same stuff. I looked back at 2011. I looked back at 2016 to see what the changes from them was. And from 16 to 2022, there's not a lot of changes in the code with the exception of a couple minor things.
So, Chief Miller, one of the questions I guess that I have, and maybe it's just that I'm not familiar with what's been done in the past. There's a lot of ordinances and a lot of rules and regulations that the city has basically in every department. How do we make sure that the general public is aware of all these things?
If this gets allowed, this gets discussed and voted on tonight, we will get that. We will make sure that all that is put out so there's no surprises to anybody. The changes, like I said, there's only 4 or 5 kind of changes that can mean a lot. We will get the word out to everybody that this is what we're going to do. This is the reason why we want to do it.
So when you say you're going to get the word out, what does that mean?
Put it on Channel 6. We will put it out in the media. We'll go make presentations if needed to the civic groups saying here's the changes that we'd want to do and here's why we want to do them. But we would not just let this thing, the vote be taken and like, oh, that's the end of it. That's not how we do business.
Thank you. Does council have any questions for Chief Miller?
I have a comment, and Tony and I have talked. I agree with all the changes, but I'm still kind of stuck on the changing it to 1 month in the spring and 1 month in the fall. Only because, and it's not a deal breaker for me, but I just want to voice my opinion here. It's another thing that 5 to 10, 15 people that are causing the problems are still going to burn. So the citizens that do it the right way, now they're being punished by 10 months again to solve a little problem, because when you quit finding them, then that's when they're going to continue to do it. We should have stayed with finding them every time, and then hopefully they think before they light the match again and burn something besides debris.
Mac, the best way I can answer that is we don't have a lot of people burn anymore. They got the message, and we do not have a lot of people burn, but occasionally we still have people burn, and they still burn illegal stuff. We try to be nice and we give them a warning. That's what we did. We give them a warning, and then after they would keep burning, then we would start writing citations, and then the problem went away. This is trying to alleviate a problem. A lot of people have health conditions, and we get a lot of calls when people are burning. And now they can legally burn leaves, yard waste. That's an issue because with leaves put out a lot of smoke. Yard waste puts out a lot of smoke. You have neighbors sitting there with their windows open and you get all this smoke coming in. That's a problem. We're just trying to fix this to make this a little easier to do by addressing this, by allowing them to do it twice a year in certain hours and certain days, and then cut it off until 6 months later.
Wow. So how did we pick April and November? Because I'm thinking like October is when all the leaves fall, and then November, well, we used to have snow on the ground. I don't know if we really have snow on the ground much anymore. And so I'm just wondering about the dates.
We pick these dates. These dates are not set in stone, but they can be. But we went and seen what other departments around the state were doing. And I called in the last few days. I made a lot of phone calls to fire chiefs saying, "Why did you pick these dates?" And they had the situation where this is working best for the community, the citizens of the community.
So can people still have bonfires, or, because I know the high school does one for homecoming?
That stuff is recreational fires, and that does not affect that at all. They can still do that stuff.
Thank you.
So 2 things for this. Talking about leaves and twigs and stuff like that, that's all stuff that can go to the landfill, and it's free of charge for homeowners to bring leaves and stuff to the landfill. So the burning of it should never be an issue because you can just take it to the landfill. I don't know why you'd burn it when you can take it to them and drop it off anyway. The other part of it is you were talking about the fire lanes and the fines associated with fire lanes. It says it's up to $150, correct?
Yes.
Now, is that something that the fire department is going to enforce, or are we going to ask our our law enforcement to go out and enforce that as well? How does that look?
On a situation like that, our deputy chief, he would take care of that off the bat. On down the road, I will say that's how it's always going to be. I can't say that, but we would do the initial citations if needed. And we do have a problem. I mean, citywide, we have a problem with people parking in fire lanes, and it's all over the place. And you go to certain stores and it's like, but yeah, we would take that. We write the citations ourselves.
Well, and that falls in the code, what is it, like 503.4.3.1 or something like that, that allows the fire department to write those citations, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Also, Russ, you have to have a car to get out to the landfill. So if you don't have a car,
People will haul it for you. People will haul it for you.
Well, I'm thinking people need to put their names out there if they're going to go by and pick up people's waste.
Does council have any other questions for Fire Chief Miller?
Will you also be putting that in the newspaper?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Councilmember, we're going to get the word out. Like I said, we're not going to let this thing go because we want to get the word out because we don't want to be the bad guys, but if we have to, we have to. But we're going to get the word out, so there's no surprises there.
Since this is a public hearing, does anyone in the audience have any questions for Fire Chief Miller that they'd like to ask or any comments you'd like to make? If not, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
second,
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
yes.
Ordinance number 3204, 2022, an ordinance amending the City of Atomos Fire Protection and Prevention Code by amending Chapter 14 of the City of Otomo Municipal Code to adopt the 2021 edition of the International Fire Code. Recommendation passed the first consideration of ordinance number 3204, 2022.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to say one more thing before I move on.
Sure.
Earlier in the meeting on the consent agenda, we had a thing for $11,088 for a Freddie the fire plug. Corey Benz, the deputy chief, has written 3 grants in the last 3 years. Corey does all the inspections for fireworks stands in the city of Otomo. The state fire marshal pays him a fee to do that, which is obviously given to the city. But they also, the funds, the money they take in is where this grant money comes out of. And in the last 3 years, Corey has written grants for over $23,000. And every year, the first year is $4,000, second year is $8,000. This last one was $11,000. I don't know what he's going to ask for next year, but I'm sure it'll be more than $11,000. So he does a great job with his program, and I want my hats off to him for getting these grants for the city.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposed ordinance number 3206, 2022, repealing ordinance number 3194, 2022, and establishing supplemental regulations for automobile sales by amending section 38872 of the zoning code of the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa.
I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing, and I think Jake is going to handle this in Zach's absence tonight.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Council. Ordinance number 3194, 2022 established a moratorium on issuing new certificates of zoning compliance for auto dealer lots. The moratorium was established to provide time to create new supplemental regulations which improve some of the issues that council and the public has identified with car lots. The new ordinance prohibits car lots within 100 feet of residential zones without a conditional use permit. This will help to create a buffer between residential areas and these businesses. The ordinance also cracks down on outdoor storage around car lots, storage of vehicles that are not for sale, body damaged, and inoperable in the display area will be prohibited, and all auto parts, damaged vehicles, and service vehicles will need to be stored completely screened from the residential area and public right-of-way. Because of this zoning ordinance, existing businesses near residential areas will be grandfathered and protected as an existing non-conforming use. However, in those existing lot, ceasing operations for a year, they would lose the protection and need to seek a conditional use permit to find other permitted uses. This was presented to Planning and Zoning Commissions last night and was approved. And the staff recommends passing the first consideration of ordinance number 3206, 2022.
Does council have any questions for Jake?
So you said that some of these are going to be some businesses are going to be grandfathered in. That doesn't mean that the people that are currently storing cars on lots that are inoperable, stuff like that, that's not going to be grandfathered in. It's just the car lots that are going to be grandfathered, correct?
That's right. If they're stored illegally now, then no, they wouldn't. They'd still be illegal.
Okay, thank you.
They can't transfer though. Like it's what if they're grandfathered in, it's on that property and they couldn't transfer it to a different property, correct?
Right. It would be that property. If they moved to a new location, then they'd be under these stipulations.
Council have any other questions for Jake? Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments they want to ask or make to Jake? If not, I would go ahead and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Ordinance number 3206, 2022, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 3194, 2022, and establishing supplemental regulations for automobile sales by amending section 38872 of the zoning code of the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa. Recommendation passed the first consideration of ordinance number 3206, 2022.
The recommendation is presented.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Thank you, Jake.
Resolution number 199, 2022, awarding the contract and approving the contract bonds and certificate of insurance for the 2022 Asphalt Street Repair Program. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 199, 2022.
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second.
Larry's going to handle this, so Mr. Seals, I'll turn it over to you.
This project is for our annual asphalt street repair program, which started in 2003 and is used to set a unit price cost. The work will consist of overlays on various streets in the city. Staff has reviewed the sewer condition and the ADA requirements for each of these streets prior to the overlay. The street that's scheduled will be North Court Gulf, north to the new HMA between Northview and Elmdale. Bids were received and opened by the city of Ottumwa on July 20th, 2022 at 2 p.m. The project was advertised on the City of Ottumwa Master Builders of Iowa websites. One bid was received. The low bidder is Norris Asphalt Paving Company of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $1,406,991. This includes a base bid of $1,310,235 and an estimated bid total of $96,756. And also the required bond, certificate of insurance, and signed contract with Norris of Ottumwa, Iowa for the above reference project are on file with the city clerk. On our bid tab sheet, you can see where we have individual price broke out for each of the streets. One of the things that we're going to do when we start this project is some of the streets within cemeteries as outlined by the Parks Director. One thing that is confusing to most people, if you look at the bid tab, the way they bid this, we have ton range, like 100 to 250. That was set up to try to take advantage of quantity. If you look at small projects and the contractor has to move between each project as far as hauling a paver and rollers and skid loaders and other equipment, we try to bundle them as much as we can. So your overall bid is always far above your projected work, and then at the end of the contract we come back in and do a change order that reduces it to actual as-built quantities.
Does council have any questions, comments for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 200, 2022, awarding the contract and approving the contract bonds and certificate of insurance for the 2022 Friction Seal Project. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 200, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Larry?
This project is for the application of a friction seal surface treatment. This process is similar to a chip and seal, except it uses a granular or an angular granite chip instead of a pea gravel. Unlike with pea gravel, the angular chips won't come loose and get kicked up by high-speed traffic. The chips also improve road friction versus the existing asphalt surface. The process includes first patching and sealing the existing pavement surface and then a single pass application of a binder and granite chips. This protects the existing asphalt surface from oxidation and is expected to extend the life of your surface 6 to 9 years. Bids were received and opened by the City of Otomo on July 20th, 2022 at 2 p.m. The project was advertised again with the City of Otomo website, Master Builders websites. One bid again was received. The low bidder is G Asphalt System, Inc. of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in the amount of $109,514.50. And again, the required bond certificate insurance is on file with the city clerk.
Does council have any questions for Larry?
This will be a short project. We anticipate, as we work with our contractors, 4 days mid-September. I do want to roll back into the last project. When we bid this, the way we set up the bid, we expect that to be next spring before any of that work's done. Norris Asphalt did inform us that they have enough work for 3 months into next year. So that's the problem. When you let this, you have to be proactive in your start dates.
When did you say that the one we just spoke about was going to be?
This one will be mid-September, should take 4 days, a couple days each side.
Larry, since this product wears much better than pea gravel, is this going to be the trend for the city to use this kind of product in the future?
That's one of the things we want to look at as we're trying to extend the life of our HMA mat. We're looking at different ways to seal the surface as you start getting different types of faulting in your asphalt. If it's an alligator type crack, we're trying to seal it up. We want to see how this responds over time versus the chip and seal.
Well, this, I guess, want to know how would this do in the winter time?
It actually adds friction to an asphalt. You actually have better traction.
Any other questions? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 201, 2022, awarding the contract for the Troger parking lot project to Drish Construction of Fairfield, Iowa, and the amount of $608,859.25. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 201, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry.
This project will consist of constructing 5,180 yards of 7-inch PCC parking lot located in Troger Park. The work will include grading, hauling, sub-base, and storm sewer improvements. Work also includes new sidewalks along Church Street and a crosswalk improvement. Once completed, this will add an additional 136 parking spaces to be utilized by the new development and Bridgeview Center. The project is tied directly to the development of the Cobblestone Hotel at the Bridgeview site. Bids were received and opened by the City of Otomo on July 27th, 2022 at 2 p.m. 2 bids were received. The low bidder is Drish Construction of Fairfield, Iowa, again in the amount of $608,859.25. One of the things that we did in this plan set, based on discussions with all of the contractors, we did a completion date at the end of the year to try to ascertain what our bids would be if we received them. All the contractors chose not to bid the early date, but did the late start date next spring, and that's when these projects will start. It is possible that they could come in and do some of the underground work if they have a schedule that frees up mid-November and weather still permits. We would allow winter work at no working day charge.
Council have any questions for Larry?
I just want to state again for the public, so this will be adding 136 parking spots, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And to add on to that, this is on the bridge or the beach side. Then we're going to talk about Bridgeview here in a minute.
Correct.
And so it's not taking out tennis courts. It's just going from the tennis courts to the beach entrance. That's how that parking lot.
Correct. It fits in between, does not affect the current tennis courts.
Thank you, Larry.
But it does take out the horseshoe court, right?
Correct.
Yes, it does.
Pardon? Just trying to be transparent. Any other questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 202, 2022, awarding the contract for the Bridgeview Hotel Parking Lot Extension Project to DC Concrete and Construction of Dowds, Iowa, and the amount of $473,143.50. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 202, 2022.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry.
This project will consist of constructing 4,575 square yards of 7-inch PCC parking lot on the south end of the existing Bridgeview parking lot. The work will also include 452 linear feet of 24-inch reinforced concrete pipe, new storm sewer installation, and will remove stormwater from the existing sanitary sewer. Once completed, this project will allow for additional 117 paved parking spaces. Bids were received and opened by the city of Ottumwa on July 27th, 2022 at 2 p.m. 3 bids were received. The low bidder is DC Concrete and Construction out of Dowds, Iowa, in the amount of $473 and $143.50. This is the same thing as the other contract. No one bid the December 31st completion date. Again, everyone we spoke with, everybody's books are full. We would do the same thing if in late November or December they wanted to do some of the underground work. We would allow that through winter work.
Council have any questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 203, 2022, approving the professional services agreement for engineering, design, and management costs between the City of Ottumwa and Shive Hattery Incorporated for the roundabout at the intersection of Albia Road and Quincy Avenue, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 203, 2022.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Larry.
This agreement will provide for engineering, design, and management costs, including public involvement, survey and mapping, traffic data collection, project design, and cost opinions for the roundabout at Albia Road and Quincy Avenue. The City of Ottumwa was awarded a $500,000 traffic safety improvement program grant to address the intersection with a higher number of conflict points, resulting in a higher number of accidents. The intersection of Albia Road and Quincy met the requirements of this grant. The proposed roundabout will improve the safety for motorists and pedestrian traffic alike. The total compensation for the professional service agreement is estimated at $83,450.
Does council have any questions for Larry? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
No.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 205, 2022, approving change order number 1 and accepting the work as final and complete, and approving the final pay request for the Ward Street Bridge Replacement Project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 205, 2022.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Larry.
This project consisted of replacing a bridge over the Jefferson Drainage Ditch on Ward Street with a twin 10-by-6 reinforced concrete box culvert. Additional work included replacing a sanitary sewer manhole, lowering water main, and rerouting storm sewer. Change order 1 decreases the contract amount by $2,615.40 for quantity adjustments. The contractor has completed the work according to the plans and specifications, and this will release all retainage and authorize final payment. The city was awarded an 80/20 BHP grant, and CIP was a local match. The grant amount was $335,708.44. So the local match would have worked out to $83,927 at 11 cents.
Council have any questions for Larry?
One of the things I might point out, we'll bring back a bridge program later in the year just to give an overview that when you replace an existing bridge with a box culvert, box culverts have about an 80-year life, but you eliminate inspection requirements if you keep your box designed correctly. Just something for the general public. We try to lower our overhead fixed cost each year.
If there's no other questions, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 206, 2022, approving a development agreement with RG Property LLC for the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Housing Conversion Program. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 206, 2022.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second.
Okay, Jake.
This resolution adopts the development agreement with RG Property LLC to complete the upper story housing conversion project at 307 East Main. This project was awarded a $500,000 community development block grant. The city's share of the match for the project is $15,000, which is our standard award for the upper story conversion under the Downtown Development Grant Program. Staff recommends passing and adopting resolution number 206-2022.
Does council have any questions for Jake?
How many apartments does he plan on putting upstairs?
So there'll be 3, 2 1-bedroom and 1 2-bedroom.
Thank you, Jake.
Any other questions from council? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution number 207, 2022, approving a development agreement with the Ottumwa Legacy Foundation for the Downtown Housing Grant Program. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 207, 2022.
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second.
Jake.
All right, thank you. This resolution adopts the development agreement with the Legacy Foundation to complete the upper story housing conversion project at 231 East Main. This project was awarded a $300,000 downtown housing grant. The city's share of the match of this project is $0. And this one will be 4 bedrooms, 3 2-bedrooms, and 1 3-bedroom.
Council have any questions for Jake? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Resolution
away.
number 208, 2022, designating a portion of Church Street with the honorary street name Madre Irene Munoz Way. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 208, 2022.
Do we have a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Believe Phil's going to take this.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. So the city council has received, or the city staff has received an application to designate a section of Church Street to honor Madre Irene Munoz. Section of the street has been identified, the area between the 300 and 900 block. Signs can be made by city staff, would be white lettering on the red background installed below the current street signs. The request does not change any addresses along the route. It has been approved or sponsored by a city council person. Councilwoman Galloway has signed off on this. And I see that the applicant is in the audience if anyone has any questions specifically. One of the criteria was putting a narrative together for the honoree, and that was done very well, I believe. And Staff has been consulted as far as being able to handle the request. And I think there was one street, there was maybe a little bit, we shifted or something, one of the signs, but we should be able to comply with the request as presented. And would recommend its approval.
And this is the first request using the new process that the council approved last month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does council have any questions for Phil?
I would just say that it seemed like the process was pretty easy. So that was,
I think it was good to have something in a written format for future. I agree. Thank you for Phil for putting that together. If there's no other questions, then Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
yes.
Resolution number 210, 2022, authorizing an agreement for professional services between the City of Ottumwa and 1919 Architects for developing site plan prototypes and construction drawings for medium-density infill and single-family housing. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 210, 2022.
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second.
Okay, Jake.
All right. In April, the city released a request for qualifications to develop prototype site plans, construction drawings, and cost estimates for middle-density infill housing and single-family housing. 4 responses were received. Staff reviewed the responses and selected 1919 Architects. This resolution will approve a contract for professional services in order to start the project. The total cost for the project was $110,480. A budget of $150,000 was granted. And there would be an option to come back to the council at a later date for additional site plans if we thought that was necessary. There'll be 2 single dwelling and 4 middle density diagrams.
Does council have any questions for Jake?
So you said there's 6 diagrams altogether, correct?
Total 2 single and 4 multi.
2 single, 4 multiple. Okay. Thank you. This, if anybody hasn't looked at the diagram, the packet online, this is an excellent company. They've got some really great designs, and I encourage all the citizens of Otomo to go look at this architecture company. And this is going to be a great company for the city of Otomo. I agree.
Council have any other comments, questions for Jake? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3200, 2022, adopting the new state electrical code by amending chapter 13 of the City of Otomo Municipal Code. Recommendation: pass the second consideration of ordinance number 3200, 2022.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jake.
All right, thank you. The State Fire Marshal Office and Electrical Examining Board has requested that the Ottumwa enforce the Iowa Electrical Code. This ordinance treats the electrical code in the same manner as the plumbing code by adopting the state code in full by reference. As the state code changes, we would not be required to make changes to our ordinance. The staff recommends that we pass the second consideration of ordinance 3200-2022.
Council have any questions for Jake?
I guess I just have a quick question. Maybe it's more for Phil. Does this need to have a third reading?
I mean, if you were to waive the third reading, that would be an option. I don't know without it being on the agenda if that's something that we could do tonight. Typically,
I guess it's not that big of a deal, but I just.
Right. So
Thinking it's
our
not
process
controversial.
is typically that we have 3 readings of an ordinance unless the council decides to waive the second and third. Unless there's something that is time sensitive, something that's good just to keep the process consistent. And that's why it had been laid out this way.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jake? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3205, 2022, vacation of public right-of-way in the portion of the alleyway running northwest-southeast from East McPherson Avenue to Phillips Street between West 2nd Street and 3rd Street West in the city of Ottumwa. Recommendation passed the second consideration of ordinance number 3205, 2022.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Jake.
All right. This ordinance vacates a portion of the alley between West 2nd and West 3rd Street. The section is between Phillips Street and East McPherson Avenue. The vacation will support the Elliott Oil Fuel Station project at this location. The vacated property will allow for the construction of the retaining wall for this project. The vacation is subject to utility easements, access easements, and adjacent property owners and conditions of a purchase agreement to be reviewed by council on August 2nd or another date as determined by staff. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended the vacation on June 27th, 2022, and staff recommends that the second reading passes of ordinance number 3205-2022.
I guess a question that I'd had was, is the vacation of the alleyway just temporary so they can build the retaining wall, or is this a permanent vacation?
I believe it's permanent.
Okay. Does council have any questions for Jake?
I asked Director Simonson this last time. I'll ask again. Have we had any negative feedback on this?
To my knowledge, I haven't received any calls or complaints.
And the other thing is to what Council Member Galloway asked is, I asked Director Simonson if we also needed to waive the third reading on this. He says it doesn't matter if we do because of the purchase agreement stuff. So everything's right in line. So as long as we pass this second and third reading, we'll be on track. So
okay, good.
Appreciate it.
Council have any other questions, comments for Jake? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Hull?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Thank you, Jake.
Ordinance number 3207, 2022, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 4, Officers and Employees of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ottumwa. Recommendation passed the first consideration of ordinance number 3207, 2022.
Do we have a motion to approve that recommendation?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Barb, I believe you're going to cover this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This code is in reference to the hiring policy that was passed at our last meeting. And what this does is it allows for staff appointments and terminations to be approved by the city administrator. A couple of the things that we looked at was, one, to be able to have an internal process for our employees to be promoted or to take other positions within the city. And then also to take a look at our time to fill, which is a statistic that HR looks at when we have open positions. One of the things that we can do by passing this code is reduce that time to fill. So that way positions aren't open quite as long. This will allow for us to immediately fill positions.
Does council have any questions for Barb?
So just to clarify, so basically this just gives the city administrator the authority to take care of an action as such as terminating an employee, and then gives you the ability to go ahead and start hiring for that position, correct?
Correct. What in the hiring policy that we passed last meeting, there was a form in the back, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but essentially what would happen is the department head and I would work, or my department would work together on completing the interviews, posting the job, deciding who we want for that position. And then what we would do is we would present that form, that very specific form, to the city administrator, who would then authorize that. We would then be able to start the background check, the drug screen, all of that stuff. And then we would file those within the HR office. So that way we do have documentation of everything. And the form is pretty detailed in giving, when we posted it, why we posted it, how many applicants we had, interviews we did, things like that. So if there was ever a question or anything as to why an appointment happened, we'd be able to have that information.
And this will help you and your department streamline hiring, because right now it can take 30 to 45 days to fill a position.
Our
if not
average right
longer.
now takes about 90 days.
Right. So this will quite a bit shorten that time frame and help us get some positions filled a little bit.
It'll
quicker.
help us shorten it by about 2 weeks right now,
Okay.
which at this point in time, we'll take everything we can get.
Yeah.
And we are going to continue to try and find ways to streamline that process. That's the intent. This was the most glaring opportunity that we saw, looking at that entire process of one way to be able to shorten that.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Council have any other questions for Barb? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes. Thank you.
Waive the second and third considerations, pass and adopt ordinance number 3207, 2022.
Do we have a motion to approve that recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Do you have anything, Barb, you want to add on that? Okay. Does council have any questions of Barb regarding this recommendation? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3208, 2022, proposed ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 6, Division 5, Public Safety Advisory Committee of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Ottumwa. Recommendation passed the first consideration of ordinance number 3208, 2022.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I believe, Phil, you're going to take this?
Yes. So the Public Safety Advisory Committee exists within our code. It was and used to meet on a regular basis. I believe it was on a monthly basis. Whether due to COVID-19 restrictions, changes in city personnel, or general reductions in issues, the group has not met in actually a couple of years. They haven't met since I've been here. Following a survey of current committee members and impacted staff, it is recommended to maintain the committee, but move from monthly meetings to quarterly meetings, or as needed, if more frequent than that, by call of the chairperson. So this is kind of cleaning up the language and reinstituting this advisory committee and having them start meeting on a regular basis quarterly instead of monthly.
Does council have any questions for Phil?
Phil, how many is on this committee?
According to our code, it's 6. So we'll have to revise X online. I think it mentions 5 members. And so there's supposed to be 2 members for 3-year terms. I'm sorry, 6 members for 3-year terms, each of those years.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Phil?
Are we going to have to work on reappointing people, or do these people still have terms they're serving now?
So we did have 3 of the 5 members had responded back to the questionnaire. I think a 4th person was a proxy through one of the people that responded. So 4 of the 5, in other words. There is one that we would have to appoint because we have only had 5 out of those 6. And I believe 3 of the 5 are up in October. It should only be 2, but somehow they got off on that. So we will have to appoint 4. 2 of them would still have a term for another year beyond October 1.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So this could be another opportunity for citizens to be considered for serving on another commission.
There is at least 1 vacancy on that board, possibly 2.
Question about just applications we get. Do we keep those on, I know we keep them on file, but do we ever reach out to people on that apply for maybe a different commission for current openings? For other commissions?
Yeah, I'm not aware of past practices as far as when vacancies have occurred in the past and what the mayor has done. I don't have a direct involvement with that, only if asked to assist. And it also depends on if the application checks several of the committees or commissions as well.
What I've done the short time I've been here is if there's a vacancy, I usually go to the department head that oversees that commission and ask if they have any people that they would like to have considered, especially if the people they're currently serving no longer want to serve. And if they do have somebody, we take a look at that individual or individuals. If not, Katie will put out another news release letting people know that there's a vacancy and they can apply by filling out an application that's on the city's website, or they can come to City Hall and pick up an application.
And the mayor and I did attend boards and committees, commissions opportunity that Otomo Leadership Academy had put on earlier this year to help encourage people that were interested in applying for those as well.
And we gave them a list of all the different commissions and how many people are on them and which ones are going to have openings this year. So I think they found that very helpful. And we've had a few people respond. Any other questions for Phil? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
This is the time during our council meeting that I would ask if anyone in the audience would like to address any item that is not on tonight's agenda. Okay. I don't believe there's any other petitions that need to be considered tonight. Is there any communication or any other business that the council wants to bring up at this time?
I just want to say we really enjoyed the retirement party for Sister Irene. It was amazing. It was a great turnout.
It was.
The celebration, good food. If y'all wasn't there, y'all missed out. But it was really nice.
Yeah, Sandra and I both attended, and then I presented Sister Irene Munoz with an appreciation certificate that was framed from the city of Otomo. She really seemed to appreciate that.
Yeah, she was so surprised. She's like, I wasn't expecting this. So that was amazing.
And you're right, the food was absolutely great.
Yes.
So they had a very good turnout for both the dinner and the ceremony over in Central Park. So she's been a wonderful addition to our community for the 23 years she's been here. She's going to be greatly missed as she moves to Davenport with her retirement.
Yes, we told her we'll come pick her up anytime she wants to come back.
She said she was coming to the International Festival this fall.
She'll be back.
So, okay, if there's no other business that the council wants to conduct, then I would ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Hull,
Yes.
Councilmember Pope,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
We are adjourned, and thank you, everybody, for attending tonight's Ottumwa City Council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending one of the shorter ones of the year.